What is up, guys? Welcome to the sports show. My name is Caleb Zuver. This is something I've always wanted to do, is have my own sports show. And as some of you know, I've had my own podcast since last summer. And this time I'm going to be doing it with my friends, and we're going to be on camera, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I will give my thoughts on everything from high school to pro sports weekly. I'll send it over to Case Hartman. He'll do fantasy. And Connor Arthur will have a BHS athlete interview every week. Should be a ton of fun. I can't wait. So first we're going to get into Aaron Rodgers and Odell Beckham getting paid this week. And it was about time for Aaron Rodgers. He's just one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in the league, in the NFL. So it was about time for him. And Odell, there's just been a lot of talk if the Giants should pay him, if they shouldn't. They weren't sure what to do. A lot of people weren't sure what they would do. They ended up paying him. And to me, it felt like the right move for both teams. You got to lock these guys up and keep them there because, Odell, he has a chance to be one of the greatest ever. Aaron Rodgers is obviously in that conversation if he gets a few more rings. It's just important to keep them there. Manu Ginobili, as we move to NBA, one of the greatest overseas players we've ever seen, announced his retirement this week from the NBA. He's been a part of that Spurs dynasty. Greg Popovich, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan. Those guys were huge, and he's going to be missed. He was really brought the game from Argentina to the United States and got a lot of fans interested. So it's going to be tough to see him go. Now let's move into college football, where at number one, I have the Clemson Tigers, and this is one of the best defenses we've seen in the past 10 years in college football. They got a stacked D-line, and on the offensive side, Kelly Bryant gets another year under his belt. They should be right there at the end like they always are. They seem to always be in the college football playoff, so they should be number one, win the ACC, because let's be honest, second best team ACC is probably Miami, and I'm not sure how good they are because you got Florida State, lost Jimbo Fisher. We're not sure how they are, so they should win the ACC by a landslide. At number two, Alabama. I think everybody should put them in their top four. There's no reason to think they would finish outside of it. This is one of the greatest dynasties, if not the greatest dynasty we've ever seen. So Nick Saban's going to have him right there at the end. They should be at number two, and no matter who starts at quarterback for them, whether it's Tua or Jalen Hurts, it doesn't matter. They're going to be right there at the end fighting for the SEC championship and most likely in the playoff. At number three, I got a kind of a surprise pick here, but I really, really like this team this year. And not many Pac-12 teams have made the college football playoff in the past couple years, but I have Washington, and it's all because of one player, Jake Browning. He's coming back for his third year at the helm of the quarterback, and I think he's in the Heisman conversation. He has been the past couple years. I think he's going to be right there. They lost Vita Vea, but I think they're going to fill in just fine. They own the Northwest in recruiting. They're right there with Oregon, so I think they've reloaded at the defense, and again, I think they'll win the Pac-12 and be in the playoff. And then if I didn't say it, I know everybody would get mad. At number four, I have Ohio State. A lot of turmoil this offseason, but in the end, they got the best coach in the conference. They got probably the best players. So it's just hard for me not to put them in. But I know those distractions that came out of the offseason, I think they can definitely play a factor, no doubt. And that's something they're going to have to deal with for the first three games without Urban Meyer. It's going to be tough, but I have confidence that they'll get through the Big Ten, get to the Big Ten championship, play really well, and get to the playoff. So in my title game, and I hear this, we see this all the time past couple years, Alabama and Clemson again, and I have Clemson pulling it out this time. Again, that defense, I think it's just too good, and it'll give Alabama a lot of trouble. So that was my part where I was going to be going through high school to pro sports. And now Case Hartman is going to come at you with his fantasy football special.
Thank you, Caleb. Now I'll welcome you into the second link of the sports show. This will be all about fantasy football, and I'll give you my golf pick for the week. This week for the sports show, I will tell you how to set up your draft for fantasy football. Your draft basically depends on the pick you have in the first round. If you have one of the first 4 picks, you would obviously take probably the 4 best players in my opinion, in Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, and Ezekiel Elliott. If you have a later pick, Alvin Kamara, Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Saquon Barkley, they won't disappoint. I think Saquon Barkley could turn out like Kareem Hunt and be a breakout. I think he will put up the same numbers as Kareem Hunt did in the first 4 weeks throughout the whole season. Don't be the guy that takes Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in the 3rd round. Quarterbacks aren't that important in fantasy, and I think that you can get a good quarterback in the later rounds. And now my pick for the week at the Dell Technology Championship at TPC Boston is Justin Thomas. I think he will repeat again. And my sleepers for the week are Tommy Fleetwood, John Rahm, and Tiger Woods. Please send in questions about your fantasy lineups. We'll answer them here on the show.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Sports Show.
Make sure you send in your questions and we'll answer them next week.
Stay tuned for next week's Spotlight Athlete here at Bryan High.